And hello everybody, welcome back to LFC News. I hope you are all well. We've got an exciting one for you today, and actually it comes on behalf of a member from The Athletic. Of course, for those of you that are sort of transfer nerds, you do realise that there are some sort of staples when it comes to sort of reputable information when it comes to sort of transfers. Obviously, The Athletic is right up there, Fabrizio Romano, and certainly in the Liverpool space, Paul Joyce probably takes the crown. But The Athletic are very, very reputable organisation. And I've got an interesting video for you to watch from a member of The Athletic as they speak about the Marc Guéhi situation. And actually, it's a very exciting development indeed. As always, guys, we are going to be going through this story whilst also going over all the latest Liverpool news for the last 24 hours. But first, please do hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for more. So the latest on Marc Guehi at first, before we get into this video, Sky Sports News said yesterday that they understand that Marc Guehi remains committed to Crystal Palace and that nothing has yet been decided about whether he will leave this month, with the Eagles yet to receive any formal approaches for any club. Manchester City are discussing whether they move for Guehi. Palace believe Liverpool could try to sign him this month too. Palace are expected to consider offers this month that are below last summer's asking price. So, I mean, there's quite a lot to unpack there before we get into the Athletics update. But in terms of what Sky Sports News has said about January, it's interesting with Manchester City because they've not actively submitted a bid for the player. Of course, as everybody knows, Guehi's contract does expire at the end of the season. And there's a plethora of clubs that are currently after a signature. And actually, there's a bit of an incentive for a player to run down their contract. Yes, one, they get the pick out of the bunch. But two, there's usually a bigger signing on fee for the player because, well, the club doesn't have to pay a transfer fee. So I can see the intentions of where Marc Guehi is at this moment in time. Does he go this month, or does he, unless it's the club he really wants to go to, if they come in, should he go, or should he wait to the summer and assess his options and see? And I feel like we're going down this route. I'm just thinking from, I don't know Marc Guehi personally, of course. I don't know if money is an incentive, but money is an incentive to a lot of players, obviously, and it's only a basis of five months. And then he can have a pick of many different clubs and, of course, get a huge signing on fee. So that tells us a lot. And that also says that Liverpool are still very much interested in signing him and could be in the race to sign him this month should a deal emerge. They're probably Liverpool's position right now. They're very opportunistic as a club. They obviously want Marc Guehi, but probably looking to get him for free. However, if someone does chuck their hat in the ring, then they'll try and sign him. But this is where things get a little bit more interesting, as The Athletic's Sam Lee has spoke out on a podcast speaking about Marc Guehi. Have a listen.
With Guéhi, this isn't too dissimilar to what The Athletic have reported anyway, outside of what I've heard. But on Monday night, I was told by somebody who knows what's going on at City, but also I think probably Palace as well. He said he thinks Guéhi wants to stay until the summer and he prefers Liverpool in any case. And then somebody else messaged me on Twitter, and I know he's very good on other club stuff. He was like, he wants to stay until the summer and he prefers Liverpool and Arsenal. And I was like, well, I hadn't heard Arsenal, but that kind of tallies with what I'd been told like the night before kind of thing. But then obviously Glasner did his press conference and he was kind of like, well, he actually specifically said about City, didn't he? And also, did he not say they wanted to sign a centre-back from City, which is obviously Ake? But that can't happen. They're obviously not going to sell Ake now, are they? There's no way. And I mean, they might not have wanted to do it anyway.
So that's very interesting there. So that kind of matches up with what Sky Sports are saying. And it all signs are sort of pointing towards Guehi prefers Liverpool as his sort of top choice. And we've seen that coming from lots of sources. I mean, he was, an inch away from moving in the summer. But now probably looking at it, well, there's probably conversations behind the scenes that Liverpool are still interested in you. Just wait to the end of the season and you can go on a free. And then that could potentially see what happens. But I'm interested to know your guys' thoughts on this subject, so do let me know in the comments below. In other news, Federico Chiesa's Liverpool career sits at a crossroads, with the Italian forward increasingly on the fringes under Arne Slot, despite his enduring popularity among supporters. Since arriving at Anfield in 2024, Chiesa has carved out an unusual status, a player embraced by the fan base for his attitude, work rate and flashes of quality, yet one who has never truly been trusted as a central figure in the manager's plans. That disconnect has only grown more apparent as the season has progressed. Chiesa's involvement has been sporadic, his minutes carefully rationed, and his role reduced largely to that of an impact option rather than a genuine contender for a starting berth. For a player who arrived with a reputation forged on big nights in Serie A and on the international stage with Italy, the reality of life on the sidelines has clearly tested his patience. It is against that backdrop that reports of renewed dialogue with Juventus have emerged. A return to familiar surroundings, regular football, and a league where he previously thrived is an understandably attractive proposition for Chiesa, particularly at this stage of his career. However, while the player's frustration is easy to comprehend, Liverpool's situation makes any January departure far from straightforward. The Reds are already walking a fine line with their attacking resources, and allowing another experienced forward to leave mid-season would come with obvious risks. Even in a limited role, Chiesa offers tactical flexibility, experience at the highest level, and a different profile to many of Liverpool's other wide options. Letting him go without adequate compensation or a clear replacement in place would weaken the squad at a critical point of the campaign. According to journalist David Lynch, Liverpool's stance is clear and relatively uncompromising. There is only one scenario in which the club would seriously entertain Chiesa's exit this month: a guaranteed permanent transfer for a fee that genuinely makes sense. Speaking to the media, Lynch explained that a loan deal would be a non-starter from Liverpool's perspective. It would have to be a guaranteed permanent fee. There's just no point loaning someone out who's been important in recent weeks, he said. It would make no sense to me unless there's a really decent fee that they don't think they could get in the summer. Can you imagine Juve coming in with a fee that makes it worthwhile for Liverpool? I find it hard to imagine, but we will see. It's completely up to them, really. They've got to give Liverpool a decision to make, and at the moment they're just absolutely not. So it's kind of not really worth thinking about until the moment that begins to happen, really. While no specific numbers were mentioned, the financial context provides some guidance. Liverpool signed Chiesa for around £12.5 million, a relatively modest outlay by modern standards, but one that still shapes their thinking. Given his limited game time, it would be optimistic to expect a significant profit. Yet the club are equally unlikely to sanction a cut price exit that reflects poorly on their original investment. A figure in the region of £10 million feels like a realistic benchmark for Liverpool to even begin serious discussions. Anything less would be difficult to justify, particularly with Chiesa still under contract for another 2.5 years. From Liverpool's point of view, there is no urgency to move him on, no contractual pressure forcing their hand, and no obvious benefit in rushing into a deal that does not align with their long-term planning. That is what makes Juventus's position so pivotal. Having sold Chiesa relatively cheaply only 18 months ago, it is hard to envisage them returning with the kind of offer Liverpool would deem acceptable. Financial constraints in Turin only add to that doubt. However, football markets are rarely static, and interest from another club, one willing to meet Liverpool's valuation, could quickly change the complexion of the situation. For now, Chiesa remains a Liverpool player, caught between his own ambitions and the club's strategic caution. His future may be uncertain, but unless a genuinely compelling offer materializes, Anfield looks set to remain his home for the foreseeable future, whether he is content with that role or not. But that is all for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Liverpool content. We post all the latest Liverpool news every day, so join our fast growing community so you never miss out. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.